Hi all, and welcome to the recording video for the Jonathan Dove Seek Him That Maketh the 7 Stars, which is, I think, very likely one of the most important 20th century anthems. It is an example, a rare example of minimalism in liturgical music. There isn't a lot. It's not the purest form of minimalism there is, but it's a very good example of minimalism. If you want to look that up, it's a lot of fun to look up. And that's a lot of what's going on with the accompaniment. Your part is not so minimal. And of course, a lot of the chord structures, the tonal aggregations that are in this are very indicative of the of that school. So at any rate, the first page is kind of simple. It's a slow 4, so I'm going to keep that count going as we do, so that I think will help you. And I'm just going to play your parts as we go through it, except for the very little bit of an introduction that I'll add the organ part as I do. Soprano, that's L sings the first page. This whole thing's going to be straight tone throughout. The page number 4, and I'll go by that, that's full choir. And then one of the big effective points about this piece is this motive where it's seek, 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 seek. And a little bit before the beat on the basses. Do those whole sections of basses and tenors, for instance, there. So let that motive seek, and listen to the video that I sent around for the example of how to sing that. It's very effective, and that's very key. Very smooth at the bottom of page 4, smooth, straight tone, and over top of the little toccata figure going on in the organ. And again, the bottom of the page, the same motif comes back to seek, seek, seek. And you want to reproduce chorally what I just did, kind of vocal. Seek, seek. A little K in there. Seek, seek. And that'll be good. Then soprano 1s, you just sort of rise above everything. Probably sopranos, I just assume most of you record both the soprano 1 and soprano 2 will probably be most effective for this. It stays soft at the bottom of the 6 and controlled and straight tone. Seek Him That Maketh the 7 Stars, etc. Top of 8, again, the Seek Him motif comes back. It's a slightly different chord now at that. And then again, sopranos, you just sort of float in. Really in the organ, that's kind of a pinky part, where your pinky is rising above the figure underneath it. Hear that? Okay. So you want that first soprano part to be nice and clear, rising above all that. Then very suddenly, before the last measure on page 8, then it gets suddenly soft. And then let it go. I'll probably slow down a teeny little bit through there. And then the top of 9, that's basses and borrowed basses, so basses and tenors. Seek turneth the shadow of death, etc. I will do my best to play correctly, but sing it correctly at the bottom of 9. I think my finger is in the actual... I'm splicing 2 recordings here, and I'm not sure that I played that as accurately, but if you count it through and just sing those notes, life will be grand. And then for the rest of it, I think I was pretty clear, starting all of page 10. And all of page 10 is only 2 measures. It looks such a... But, you know, that's a lot of page for very few measures. And then a beautiful spot on the top of 11. Pay real attention to that. You want this soprano part to really sing out above all this. So it's gorgeous, but be aware of that. That beautiful playing with that E natural to F natural. It's just gorgeous. Top of 12, back to the seek Him, but it's upside down now, the seek Him motif. Seek Him, seek Him. So, and that's kind of, it's kind of a spiritually, a seek Him is going down, then it's up above, so it's like in all ways, it's like you're turning the notion around in your mind. Fine, and then the sopranos, you rise above, like a cantus firmus, but not on page 12. Then All Holy Heck breaks loose at the bottom of 12, and I'll kind of keep the counting going. Be careful of these first notes here on page 13 and try to pick them off. I think I may have played that first chord, may not have been right in my recording, but eventually my fingers get back in track and then it goes. So these little tone clusters, remember the tone clusters, so it's, you know, do your best. And then very big at 13 is seek stars. So keep that seek Him thing but now you're applying it to the word stars and then the word ah. You know, so it's kind of, the text wants to stretch and grow beyond words at that point into the thought beyond words, which is of course the thing. The whole point of language is to take each other's minds to a place beyond words, or at least the best point of language is that. Bottom of 14, last couple of measures, I'll get that 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then you have this motive, and then lots of shape on this and legato. That maketh the 7, that maketh the 7, that maketh the 7, that maketh the 7. Play that motif like that and it'll be good. Watch your counting on page 16. I'll count it for you about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But, yeah, see, it sounds harder than it is. Then what you may want to do is record everything up to page 16 and then start afresh on page 16 with the sequence so you don't build up that tension when you're making recordings, like you have to get the whole thing through. So that might be a good spot if you're going to break it in and submit it as 2 recordings, to break it right there so that you get those fine. Then it goes back to that motif. Same thing at top of 17. So I think the hardest spot rhythmically for a bunch of you will be pages 16 and 17. That's why I'm suggesting, if rhythm is a challenge for you, then start like your second half recording right on page 16 with the sequence. And you'll probably find less frustration because you may have to do those first couple of pages like I did, like about 9 times before you get it right, or more. And then on page 17, that maketh, just like fly right up there. That maketh the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's a beautiful motive that just wipes right down all the choir, and then starts again and wipes from the sopranos all the way down to the basses. So it's like that. It's sort of kind of like, you know, Christ goes up on high and then he slaps the Holy Spirit back down on the creation. He steps out of the creation, ascends to heaven, and then throws the Holy Spirit on top of the whole thing. And so there you go with that. And then on page 18, again, this might be another spot. If some of you have to break it into 3 things, this might be your 3rd thing starts here. And that middle section from page 16 and 17 may just be one independent submission. That's okay. And then there's where it gets rhythmically complicated. If you listen to my recording video, or better yet, the recording that you hear of that, till you get it in your ear, then you go that seek him, 1, 2, him, seek him, 1, 2, 3, seek him, seek him, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. If it's just impossible for you to get this section, you just don't have the groove for it, then don't sing it and start back where it goes on on measure 106. Just skip that spot. Other people will get it. And start right on that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and just start right there and just skip that one little spot. Then death of death of death of death. And then one of my favorite passages in all of Western music begins at the bottom of 19. And this is that pandiatonicism, functional pandiatonicism. So you have all the chord tones kind of going at once, and then the bass line is implying functionally where it goes. So it's this great expanded tonality that is one of the best parts of 20th century music. And so you can look that up, pandiatonicism. It's a thing. It starts with Stravinsky. And you actually have precursors in it. We sing a Bach chaconne at the end of Cantata 150, and that actually goes pandiatonic. So anyway, so keep that up. I'll give you breathing spots in 21, 22, and 23. And then for the last page, here's what we're going to do. So these little measures, it's 7, 4, 8, which is really annoying in a way. So what you get is you get 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3 is how I'm going to count it. So the beginning of, so here's page 23, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2 up, 1, 2 and 1, 2 up, and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and up. There'll be a little bit of a fermata on the very end. I'll follow that. And for that last amen, you want the men to be about half as loud as the ah. So the whole thing's getting softer at the end. So it's 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, and then it's much softer. And then it ends a tiny little fermata, and then it ends. And that is all there is to that. I made a separate recording earlier with the whole piece on it, so that'll start right now. All right, and here we go. And I'll give myself 4 beats, and then I'll play the introduction. Then L, you're going to start. Here's your starting note. And straight tone all the way throughout for everyone. Choir, you start at the top of 4, and it's full choir all the way from the top of the page number 4, which is the second page of music. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, off. Gigs, 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 gigs. 1, 2. Here's your pitch. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, sopranos. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, big, small. 5, 6. Sopranos. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Soft. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tenor and basses. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Three, one, two, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, breathe, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, breathe, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And off. And that is all there is to that. Yeah, that's all there is to that. That's the